Well, how about we just go around and say our names?
Okay.
My name is Hector Salcido.
My name is Gracie Salcido.
Mine is Graciela Salcido.
My name is Martin Chasko.
Jennifer Chasko.
Father Nick Widewell.
Yadira Salcido.
Nice.
Sister Elizabeth.
Nice. You have very smiley children.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've said our names. How many children do you have?
I have 8 children.
8 children. Are you husband and wife?
Yes.
Okay. Nice. How old are your kids?
19, 13, 12, 11, 9, and then I have a 6, a 3, and a 1-year-old.
Oh wow. So you have your hands full.
Yes.
A lot of family. That's nice. So what do you look for usually in a parish community? What do you look for in your church?
In my church, we look for unity, to find people that we can be close with, talk to, have trust on.
Yeah. Well, how about the kids? What do you look for in a church? What do you...
I look for honesty and trustworthiness.
Anyone else? Kids? How about the smiley one? What do you look for? When you come to church, what do you expect? A lot of happy people, nice people. Good. Well, how about in a priest? Has anybody ever asked you that? What do you look for in a priest?
Nobody has asked me, but I think what I look into a priest is experience, trust, and more likely a friend. That's what I look for.
Yeah. Have you experienced that with your priests? The different
yeah.
priests?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yes, I have.
Nice. How about the kids? What do you look for when you see a priest?
Mostly a friend.
Yeah. Friends.
Somebody you can talk to, open up to,
Yeah.
more likely.
Nice.
Trust with your feelings.
Yeah.
Respect.
What about you?
Honesty.
So how has your experience in your parish measured up to your expectations?
My experience here in this parish is being more, we were very welcome and more likely like a family, like one single family. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Mm.
Has that always been your experience at different parishes?
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
Same thing.
What she said?
Yeah. Okay.
I think like to have more cultural events so that the Latino community can get invited to it and they can start knowing that there is Latino people, that they can get closer to the church and start coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it about the Latino community? What do you think they look for in cultural events? What is that?
What they look for in culture?
Yeah, in events.
That there's more like they can get along with other people, get to know other people. I think that's what, and I don't know.
Yeah.
That's more likely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So can you share with us a story of a time that you felt culturally welcome in your parish? Like different events that they've had or...
Like when they have the San Juan Festival. I mean, when they have the Guadalupe Society, the dinners. When we come to church, they have the bilingual mass. I mean, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Oh, sister, hi.
Hi.
How are you today?
I am fine, thank
Good. So what has been your experience in just engaging the Latino community? And also, how do you think we can do that in a more richer way?
Well, I believe the Hispanic community, the Latino community, has been corresponding or very, very well. When we go to the homes, they are ready to open up their home to host the Guadalupe Novena or Las Posadas that we have during Christmas time, when we had the parish feast here for Our Lady of Guadalupe, they came forward. They brought food. They helped in every way they could. They came to the Mass. They celebrated with us. It was just a very beautiful experience. And we did have, this year, we had the Mass totally in Spanish. So a lot of the people there really appreciated that. And those who did not speak Spanish of the Anglo community in the parish, they loved it as well. They were especially liking the presentation of the roses that they gave to Mary. So that was very special to them. And then afterwards, they went over to the parish center and they joined us in the fiesta. So there were so many, it was such a great mix that we needed 2 more tables.
Wow.
Yes, it was very good. And at Christmas time, I think the Latino community helps to share the work and the festivities that there are. And in the summertime, when we work with the migrant community, the Latino community here in the parish help to take the food and the clothes out to the migrant camps. And they celebrate Mass there with the migrant workers.
Wow.
Yes.
What do you think, how do you think we can, bring even more to the experience of the Latino in the church?
Well, one thing that we're trying to get on board is an all Spanish Mass. And I believe that if the Latino community is well served in that way, we can bring them more on board. And then also we can get more children into the Catholic school because they will have that feeling of wanting to become a part of the Catholic community.
Great. Father Weibel.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Do I have, questions for the priest? I didn't realize that. Well, how long have you been a priest?
Well, it'll be 50 years in August 15th.
Wow.
So the 50th is coming up. Just like Sister Liz, too. We're celebrating our common 50th. So
Wow.
we're-
Congratulations.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. We worked hard in the vineyard all those years, haven't we, Sister?
Yes, we have.
That's great.
Yeah.
And do you speak Spanish?
I wish I could speak better. I can carry on a little simple Spanish conversation. I can preach in Spanish to some extent, but I wish I could speak better yet. Because sometimes we get in conversation, all of a sudden I'm lost. Then we go switch. We do the Tex-Mex thing a little bit, works out okay. We communicate that way.
Spanglish.
The Spanglish, is that what the latest is?
Spanglish.
Oh, Spanglish, okay. I guess I haven't advanced that far yet.
Great.
Thank you for that.
How long have you been serving the Hispanic community in particular?
Well, it started in 1963. I was working with the migrants at Bowling Green. I was just driving a priest from Spain around to the migrant camps and everything like that, and worked a little bit with the kids. And then I went to Cuernavaca in '83 for a language school to try to improve my Spanish. And then when I got to St. Joe's Fremont, I worked closer with them there because we have a very active Guadalupe Society. We had outreach to the camps and that. So during that time, I was more active for 12 years. And then coming here, it reinvigorated me to get involved in Spanish again because of our community that we have here. So that's been, it's been a blessing in many, many different ways. And I worked with Father Jose Corral in Fremont, who was a native priest from Mexico, and saw him at work. So that was very helpful too. And we have a wonderful community, Guadalupe community there, as well as here, and it's growing, I think, in number, in participation, and in sharing what they have with one another. So that's been pretty much my involvement with them.
What did you learn from working so closely with the migrant workers? What did you learn about kind of the culture and the spirit?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the family, the involvement of family, the importance of family, the importance of their own community, like their support that they have to give one another. I think that, to me, is probably the greatest contribution. The piety that's there to Our Lady of Guadalupe certainly is very much a part of that. And so I think those two things really stand out. And the welcoming. I find the community very welcoming. You know, I can walk into any house and I'm greeted, I'm well fed.
Yes.
There's always got to be food there, you know. And so it's, that's probably the best part of my relationship with the Latino community. And it's been a delightful experience. And nice kids too.
Yeah. As a priest who speaks Spanish, could you tell us what your challenges are? You kind of touched on it a little bit, but could you tell us a little bit more about that?
I did. I think the preaching is a challenge. Contacted families through visitation. I'm very happy that Sister Liz is here in our parish because she does a lot of the outreach with families and everything like that. But I think that's a key to the involvement and to the outreach, that part of it. Also, I think there's a challenge of not thinking in terms of them and us. Like when we fled Yugoslavia and went to Germany, even though we spoke German, we were still them and they were us. And coming over here, those who've been born here in the parish, they're the natives, and then there are these other people that come in, it's them and us. And that's true of the Latino community and the English-speaking community, to try to break through that. And I find myself catching myself on that sometimes. So that's a real challenge to think in terms of us, no matter where we came from or when we came. So that's very important, I think. And those, again, and those folks who've lived here, came out of migrant stream maybe 1, 2, 3 generations ago and have lived here the whole time, their interests are different than those who've just come recently, and especially those who are undocumented. That's a real challenge, I think. And so those are some of the areas I think that we need to be concerned about. And it's a struggle. And Sister mentioned the Spanish Mass. Ideally, it's a good thing to do, but then you deal with numbers and the number of masses we have. The bilingual liturgy is to some extent successful, but it hasn't attracted the people. And some of the English-speaking folks, they stay home, they choose to go to another Mass. So again, it's that inability to want to learn something new on both sides, I think. But that's a constant struggle for them.
Thank you. Your challenges are the same as the priests. Wait, your challenges, you do not speak Spanish?
For the priests who don't speak Spanish, is it the same challenge?
Yeah.
I think some of it is. Visitation is one. Now, we had Bishop Ottwater, who was 6'8", and he couldn't speak any Spanish, but he was beloved of everyone, and he worked in the migrant camps. He visited with people. He patted everybody on the head, way down there. He was way up there, But he didn't. He loved the folks, and I think that really was a bridge that was there. I think that's part of it. I think the challenge for them again is how to get folks involved in the parish, whether it's lecturing, ushering, serving on pastoral council, any of those things, how to get them structurally involved in the parish. That's a challenge. How do you find leadership in that? Again, it depends on how many folks there are in each parish who are Spanish speaking. That makes a big difference on that one. I think some recommendations that I would see would be, in a sense, with many of the regular parishioners that have been here for a long time, it's the same as reaching out to the other ones, and that's hospitality, letting people feel welcome. I think, Grace, you mentioned that, that when people come, they should feel welcome in the parish, irregardless where they're from, what language they speak, or whatever, and that's an ongoing effort. I remember one lady, good lady, participated in parish, all the councils and everything like that, and she said that she just doesn't have time because she got so many friends, she doesn't have any time for new friends. Well, how do you overcome something like that? And trying to understand that we're all welcome when we gather around the table. I think that's a big thing. If there's enough folks who speak Spanish, we need somebody in the staff who's able to relate to them in their own language. I think when you speak to someone in their own language, right away you have a connection. And then you can take it, from that point on. That's why I'm so happy to have Sister Liz in our parish to do that. Getting involved in the celebrations, funerals, weddings, quinceaños, the other things that were mentioned before.
Yes.
Because we know at weddings and at funerals, we have people coming out of the woodwork. All of a sudden they appear, we never see them before. It's a good time to be in contact with them. I don't dance too well, so I just sort of walk around and do that part of it. But again, that personal relationship, I think, is very important. Another thing that Father Mike Madden gave a retreat to some kids from Hispanic families, Latino families, and he said he was really surprised at their lack of confidence in themselves, their self-worth. And Father Jose Corral, when he was working with the Guadalupe Society, said the same thing, that he was trying to get them to the point of realizing their worth is just as good as anybody else's. And by working on that, he said, unless I can develop them into leadership, into that assurance, there'll never be any equal coming together. It'll always be them up here and them down here. And I think the schools help to equalize that. When the kids are in school, they're all on the same basis. They're all learning, some smarter, some not so smart, some do their homework better than the other do, their homework. But they're on the same basis. There isn't a them and us situation there. So I think the school can be a great asset for the coming together, for working together and seeing the need for that. The other part is how to get Latina community aware of what church is. The history has always been family. The history has been the migrant situation. Those are migrant by themselves. Church didn't really have much meaning to them. Our Lady Guadalupe, certainly the devotion was very powerful. But how to get folks to understand the sacraments, the value of gathering around with others for the Mass, the importance of Sunday Eucharist, the importance of a church that cares, and I think that's a real challenge. I don't know how to break through that. I mean, that's an ongoing thing. But I think probably the common activities that we have and sharing those together in the school, I think, are wonderful ways of integration. And we have probably about 20% of our population in school is from Latina community background, Spanish background. So I think that's, to me, is really a biggie, a very important part.
Great. So, do you think that, in your opinion, do you think that our diocese needs more bilingual personnel in all areas of ministry?
Language is a wonderful gift, and the more we can speak to people in their own language, the better it is. I think there's a sense of, well, folks who live in the United States, therefore they ought to speak English, and some people are really locked into that. But I think we should learn how to speak to one another in languages, and it's difficult. Sometimes we like to get someone in a school that can speak both languages or any other language that would be represented in a parish, but sometimes difficult to find somebody. Like I said, we're fortunate to have Sister Liz, but if she wouldn't be here, I don't know how easy it would be to find somebody to work in that area. And the more we can do that, the better.
Yeah. So, are there any other recommendations that you might give for engaging the Hispanic?
Well, what did Jesus say? Love God with your whole heart, soul, mind, strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. So if we work on that, loving our neighbor as ourselves, I think that'll sort of lead in the right direction. So the heart has to be in it. It can't just be the head.
Yeah.
And that's important. So.
Great. Well, I have one more question for the family. For Mom and Dad, what does your faith mean to you?
What does our faith mean?
Your faith, yeah. How has it impacted your life?
Change your life when you got faith. That's what it.
My kids.
Great.
And you certainly care for the education of your children.
Yes.
That's very important to you. Is that what they tell you at times? Study harder?
Yeah.
Get your homework in?
I was pushing them. Get your homework done. Turn in your homework. It's time to do homework. Yeah.
And that's so important.
Yeah.
Yes.
So important.
Study. Bring your books. Study. You're gonna have a test tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't see no books. Go back and go get them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And since we're so close to school, it's a lot more easier now than to be driving them to the other schools.
Yeah.
We live so close to it. They forget a book. I don't see a book. Go get it. You need it. You have to study. I know you're gonna have a test.
Yeah.
Yes, so
Great.
encourage them always that education is the best thing that they're gonna have.
Yeah. That's great. Well, anything else? I think that's it. Thanks, everyone.